Hello, architecture students. In today's class, or today's video, we're going to talk about doing a site plan. Okay, so we have to kind of plan the site that our building is going to sit on. So it has to all be dimensioned and surveyed and everything else. Now I'm going to show you just a real easy way to do it, just basically represent that you know how to do it. But in all actuality, you use engineering data to create that with. I'll kind of show you how that works. Now the first thing we want to do in Revit is come over here to our project browser and click where it says site. That's where we do our site plan. The scale is already set to 1 inch equals 20 feet. You want to leave it at that. One thing you can do now, you can leave your drawing like this, but a lot of times I see drawings where the footprint of the building is really just gray, just kind of a gray patch here. So we can actually create that as well by going to the Annotate tab up top and going to the Region tool, clicking on Filled Region type selector, going to the solid black, and actually we could have really done this from any of those different patterns, but I just use solid black as a template. Come here and do a duplicate, call it solid gray. Click OK, and just change both of these colors, the foreground and the background, to a gray color. And you might even want to lighten it up a little bit with this little thing right here. Okay, and kind of remember where that's at so you can get the other color very close to the same thing. So click here, go gray, move this up to about right in there. Okay, apply, okay. Now I'm just going to trace out around my building. Oops, I didn't go quite out far enough there. Okay, so now we kind of got that grayed out. Next thing I want to do is draw the property line. Okay, so I'm going to go to the tab up here that says Massing and Site. Now typically you do this with engineering data. You would click on the property line tool right here, and you would create by entering distances and bearings. And that would be information brought to you by a survey engineer. And you would actually put the distance of each segment of the line and the angle from I think 90 degrees of what it is. Okay, so what you're looking at here is like drawn out from west to east. But there will be several lines of data in here telling you the distance and the direction for each individual line. But we're going to do it the really easy way, mainly just for demonstration purposes. And we're going to do create by sketching. All right, so I'm basically drawing a yard is all I'm doing. So I'm going to draw a plain old everyday rectangle. All right, and click the green check mark, and there is my property line. Okay, now what am I going to do next with that property line? I've got to create what we call setbacks. Okay, so each city, county, state has a certain distance around your house that you cannot build any permanent structure. Okay, so none of the permanent structure, the house or anything else, can actually go beyond these lines. And the biggest one is going to be up front, and that's so the city can use easements for utilities like wires, plumbing, big pipes and things like that to go through your yard up under the ground anyway. Or even if you have the poles where the wires are strung across, about 20 feet up in the air, those poles would actually sit on your property as well. So that's kind of a part of your property that the city can use however it wants to. But let's not worry about the politics of that and just draw some lines. So I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, click on Detail Line, and I'm going to set it for hidden lines. This is those green hidden lines that are default in Revit. And I'm going to trace the property line with it. Okay, I'm going to trace out the property line, and then I'm going to offset them. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Modify tool again and go to the Offset tool right here. Click on that. And I'm going to, right here where it says Copy and it's got a check mark, I'm going to click that because I don't want to make a copy of these lines. I want to move them and totally move them. Okay, so my first setback is going to be the front, and typically that runs around 30 feet. Oops. What did I do? Okay, I moved. So I'm going to put it back. All right, there we go. Okay, so 30 feet. We're going to type into the offset box right up here. And I'm going to offset that front line. Okay, so no permanent structure can be built beyond this line, except for like driveways, sidewalks, things like that. I'm going to offset the sides. Okay, so on the sides it's 5 feet. So 5 feet is the distance you can't build anything. And a lot of people are really pushing that limit, and they're building houses like right next to each other. I mean, and building right up to that 5 foot line. I don't think that's a good practice, but they do it anyway. The last one is the back here, and that is often 10 feet. Sometimes it's 5 feet, sometimes it's more. Okay, so there we go. And we got a perfect square of our setback lines right there. Now, two ways to show these setback lines is a lot of times they might just have some text written down here below the line. And that will tell you what it is. It might say like front setback 30 feet, or you can dimension it. So we'll dimension this. Okay, we'll go here and go here, make a dimension, 30 feet. Okay, now I'm going to click on that dimension. I'm going to double click on it actually. And I want it to say something else. I don't want it to display 30 feet. I just want it to say, and it should be in all capital letters, sort set back 30 feet. Okay, apply. Okay, so it just says set back 30 feet right there. I'm going to do the same on the sides. I'm just going to do one side. I mean, if one side is 5 feet, the other side is 5 feet. Okay, if I can get into it, there we go. And replace with text, set back 5 feet. Okay, so there's my side. And now I'm going to do the rear. Set back, and I don't know if that's one word or two words, okay, but I'm doing it as 2 words right now. Setback 10 feet. Okay, so our setbacks are labeled. The next thing we got to label is we got to dimension, from the property line to the building itself to kind of position the building. And there's several ways that can happen. We have probably one of the simplest setups for that. I'm going to move these markers out here. But sometimes, when they're doing the survey, they have to set like a stake or something in the ground and dimension from a stake to the building because maybe the property lines are all crooked and all kinds of weird stuff. But we're just going to do the real simple one, and we're just going to dimension this just from here to the front of the house, okay? From here to the side of the house, from back here to the back, and from the side here, and we'll have to have another one. We'll have to have 2 side here. Okay, so now that is very well dimensioned, and let's go ahead and pull this one down. The whole line, actually. And we'll grab it here, or here. We've got to grab it somewhere. I want to just delete it. Do it like that. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that completely dimensioned. All right. Next thing we want to do is we do want to display the coordinate of these lines. So I'm trying to remember how to do that. I think we tag that. So I'm going to go to architecture, area, tag area. There's got to be a tag on here somewhere for these. And let me find that real quick. Okay, so here we go. We're going to tag these property lines. Okay, to tag the property lines, we first have to go to insert. See, insert right here. Okay, and load family. And we've got to insert these annotations into our project. So it's going into the annotations right here, the annotations folder. Then we go to the civil folder, and then we go to, let's see, tag, property line tag. I believe that is it. Yeah, that is it. Okay, we open, and that puts it in our project. Then we go to annotate, tag by category, and then we just come in here and tag each individual line. Okay, there we go. We're tagged. Okay, so that is basically your site plan.